So it's been a little while since we made our previous video all about why we made the decision to move to Spain. It's been a few months of living here now, and we wanted to make this video sooner, but we're actually only just getting around to it now. So this video is going to be all about how we got Spain's digital nomad visa, the full process, the cost, and some tips.
So we've been living in Spain for 9 months now?
Yep, 9 months.
So it has been a while.
Yep.
We have been meaning to make this video for ages. But we've just been enjoying living in Spain. I think we've absolutely loved the first 9 months here. It's been absolutely amazing. It's gone so well, better than we ever thought. We've met friends, met people, done loads of stuff. So yeah, let's just get into the details of how we got Spain's digital nomad visa.
So if we start from the very beginning, when we were back in England, when we first started the process, which was
over a year ago now.
Over a year ago. I think it was around about July time last year. It's June now, so nearly a year ago. So the very first thing we did was go online and do some research about how to get Spain's digital nomad visa, and pretty quickly we realised that it seemed quite a complicated process. There was a lot of paperwork to complete. So we made the decision then to see if we could find a company that could help us with that.
Yeah, a lot of it needed to be in Spanish. You needed to apply in Spain or in England. So it was just so much stuff. So I think the best thing we'd done was hiring this company.
Yeah, definitely. So after doing a bit more online research then about which company to go with, we decided to go with a company called Move to Spain Guide. We read their reviews on Google and did some social media research, and they seemed like a pretty good company to go with.
So straight away, the full cost that we paid was around €2,000, and then plus a little bit more for apostles and everything that we'll go into later. So the whole process from start to finish cost us around €2,400 for absolutely everything to get our visa. So it's not cheap. It's certainly not cheap, and you can do it yourself. Again, like obviously, as we said, we wanted to use a company because it was just hard, and we felt it was money well spent in the end. We couldn't recommend them enough. They were so helpful. They helped us every stage and everything like that, giving you documents. And I think the best thing with them, they specialise in this. So I don't know how many they've helped now, but I think it's over 2,000 applicants now who they've processed and got the digital nomad visa in Spain. So they know the process inside and out.
So once we'd chosen Move to Spain Guide to help us, we then had to see whether we actually qualified for the process. So some of the things you need to qualify for the Spain digital nomad visa. So the first requirement probably the most important one, is your income. So we're married, so we basically applied as a main applicant and a dependent. So in this case, the main applicant needs to show a gross monthly income of €2,763. And then for each dependent, you add more. So for example, for us being married, we had to show €3,799 per month. So it's 2,763 for the main applicant, and then it's just over €1,000 extra for the dependent.
Yes.
So that works out to about €45,600 per year.
Yeah, about £40,000 a year we had to earn for both of us to be able to qualify for this.
So really we only know the requirements as a couple. If you're applying as a family, so with children and things, it is different.
So the amount you need to qualify
is
different for adults and children. And if you're not married, then you can't apply as a dependent. So we actually got married before doing this, and we have met other people who have come over and they're not married. They've been together 7-8 years, but they're not married, so they had to apply as 2 separate applicants, which means it was double the cost, double the paperwork and everything.
So the best thing to do if you are applying as a family with children is go to the Move to Spain Guide website, and they have all of the information on there. So they have all of the price requirements and things. So best to go to their website for that.
So the next thing we had to do to qualify was show that we've been working with the same company for over 3 months. So we had to provide contracts and stuff like that. And you also need to make sure that that company that you are working for has been in business for over a year. So you need to provide maybe like limited company documents and stuff like that. That shows that that company has been in business for over a year.
And then you will need your employer to confirm in writing that you are allowed to work in Spain.
So you also need to prove that you also have experience in the job role that you're applying with. So you also need to provide a CV and show over 3 years experience of you in that role. So for us, we work for my own company. My own company has been set up for 3 years, 4 years. We know we checked off the mark that it's been in business over a year. We are both employees of that business. So for the minimum income, I just set my payment. I just asked the accountant to pay me the minimum amount that we needed to pay. So all I had to do was just submit my pay slips from my own company, and I just put that up to the minimum requirement that I needed, just to make sure that we did qualify on that. And then we also submitted CVs. So I've been doing my job for over 15 years, so I had more than 3 years experience. And with the asking your employer to
Allow you to
work Spain. Spain are a bit difficult, funny with people from their own companies coming over. They don't like it too much, so we had to kind of try and disguise it that I own the company that I'm an employee of. So I done it as though I wasn't. So everything we'd done, we wrote a letter to say, yes, Ryan Clark is allowed to work abroad in Spain, and we provided pay slips from the company name. I don't actually have any other staff in the company, so I just got my accountant to write the letter of the employee that I could work abroad. As it was only me applying as the main applicant, I was the only one who needed to provide financial documents. Kirsty didn't need to do any of that. It was only the main applicant that had to, and we just had to show an income of above 45,000 euros per year.
So just to recap on that section then about what you need to qualify in terms of your work. So you need to make sure that you meet the income requirements for the main applicant and any dependents. You need to show proof of work, so proof that you've been working for your employer or clients for at least 3 months, and that your company has been going for at least a year. And you need the employer to provide a letter to confirm that you're allowed to work remotely from Spain. And then finally, you need to either prove qualifications, so either a degree related to your work or that you have 3+ years of experience in that job.
So one of the next requirements is a criminal record check. So if you've had any convictions within the last 5 years, then I don't think you'll get accepted. So we had to prove a DBS check from the police records, just to say we've both not been arrested or any criminal convictions within the last 5 years. And I think that is about it to qualify. So it's just the income and the criminal record check are the biggest blocks. If you tick all them, then you're fine and you'll get accepted. Should get accepted anyway.
So the criminal health record as well, it has to be apostilled and translated. So the Move to Spain guide people helped us with all of that.
So one of the other things we had to do is get our company record certificate. You can request this from the government website. I can't remember how much it is. It's not much. And they just send over a certificate to say that this company has been formed at this date. So you can kind of prove that it's been in business for over a year, minimum requirements that you need. So we needed to get a few documents apostilled. So anything from the government, like our company certificate, our criminal record check, we needed to send them off to get apostilled. This is just to prove that they are real. So you need to send them off to a company, they check they are real documents, and then they send them back with a stamp. And then we also needed to get everything translated into Spanish. So all our CVs, our company checks, our letters from our employer to say we can work abroad.
Bank statements.
And stuff like that. And the Move to Spain guide basically just lists all this out. You upload it to a Google Drive and they check everything for you. They done all the translations for us as well, so that was part of the package we paid for. So one of the other thing that is a requirement for the visa is health insurance. So with the A1 certificate, you can get health insurance from the UK, I think. We didn't get that in the end. It was a bit too complicated. We was backwards and forwards. So in the end, we brought private healthcare, and we paid about €1,000, I think, for both of us.
Roughly, yeah, around about that for the year.
Yeah, for the year. So it's €500 each for the year. We haven't had to use it yet. But
yeah, it's a well-known one, I think, across Spain. And again, it was a company that the Move to Spain guide people recommended to us.
Yeah.
So we just decided to go with that because it was just a bit of an easier process, to be honest.
We also needed to provide them with copies of our passports, bank statements, savings, and everything else that they might need, and you just upload it all to a Google Drive where they can access it.
And one of the best things that we thought about working with the Move to Spain guide people was that they were available on WhatsApp. So every time we uploaded a document into the Google Drive, we could just send them a WhatsApp and say that we'd uploaded something, and they checked it all over and let us know whether it was okay or not. And we were like backwards and forwards with them quite a lot on WhatsApp. So they made it so much easier for us. I think we would have really struggled to get all of this paperwork together, get it translated, get everything we needed without making any mistakes. So it was really good to have their support over WhatsApp and just know that somebody who actually knows what they're doing was like checking all the documents to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah, because we did upload stuff wrong, stuff that you think is right, like every page of your passport, there was like a slight corner cut off, and I was like, no, can't have that. There was a couple of documents where the wording wasn't quite right, maybe in the employee letter. They fixed that, and because they give you templates to use and stuff like that. So there's lots of stuff that just needed editing and tweaking. And if you go and then, if you didn't know this and then you try and apply for your visa yourself, they'll just keep rejecting it on stuff like this. So making sure you've got someone there to check everything before you upload it and submit it to the Spanish government makes it a hell of a lot easier, and knowing that you might get accepted first time as well. So there's kind of two different ways you can submit. So you can either submit with the A1 certificate or you can go self-employed in Spain. So the A1 certificate is telling the British government that you are just going to work abroad. This lasts for 2 years, whereas if you go self-employed in Spain, you're just going self-employed in Spain. But the A1 certificate is a lot easier to get. It's a lot less hassle, a lot less tax implications, and just a lot easier. So we went with that route. So we knew that we could only apply for a 2-year visa. There's also a difference whether you apply within the UK or you apply within Spain. If you apply within the UK and go to the Spanish embassy, is it? Mm-hmm. Spanish embassy, you can only get a 1-year visa. Doesn't matter which visa you go for, you can only get a 1-year visa. Whereas if you apply in Spain, if you go the A1 certificate, you can get a 2-year visa, or if you go self-employed, you can either get a 2 or a 3-year visa. 3 years is the maximum though.
So we made the decision to go down the route of applying once we got to Spain because we wanted a 2-year visa. So then once we knew we had all the paperwork ready and it had all been okayed, it was all signed off, then we knew that we could come to Spain and complete the application. So one of the very final criteria that you need to make sure that you have if you are applying from Spain is that you have a stamp in your passport to say that you've entered Spain. So for us, obviously, as we mentioned in the last video that we made, we drove here because we have our dog and we were bringing all of our belongings with us. So we actually drove all the way to Spain. So we didn't get a stamp in our passport. So what we had to do when we got here was then go to Gibraltar, where they stamp you in and out once you cross into Gibraltar.
So there's a couple of different ways. We came through France, so we got the tunnel and drove through. So obviously when you're driving through France into Spain, there's no borders, so you don't get a stamp. But if you come via the ferry and get the ferry straight into Spain with your car, then you will get a stamp then. And there's also, you can go into Andorra I think, as well on your way down and get a stamp there.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different ways you can get the stamp. Obviously, if you're flying, that's absolutely fine because you'll 100% get a stamp then. Well, you have to make sure you can still not get a stamp, so just make sure you get a stamp if you are flying, because they are electric gates now, but you do need a stamp when you apply for your visa. But yeah, we drove to Gibraltar, went into Gibraltar for an hour, come back out and got the stamp when we came out.
So once we had the stamp in our passports, we basically sent proof of that over to the Move to Spain Guide people. They completed the application for us and submitted it on our behalf, and then it was basically just a waiting game to see whether it would be accepted or not.
So there's a Facebook group that you can join and through the whole process, and you can talk to people and get advice. And we were looking at that, and some people were getting accepted within 5 working days, some people it was taking 30 working days. So there really isn't a set rule of how long it takes. I think it's just what kind of person you get as well. The Spanish government, as we've learned since being here, take their time on things. So we knew from looking at other people and what I was doing, it was roughly around 2 weeks. So my visa come back within 10 working days. And because I was the main applicant, Kirsty's for some reason never came back. So mine took 10 days to come back, which is really, really fast. And then we was a bit worried that Kirsty's not come back, because even though I was the main applicant, she should have just come with that one. But yours come back about another 10 days later.
Yeah, maybe roughly around another 10 days or so after that. So don't know why. There was no real reason why Ryan's got accepted before mine did. But yeah, so all in all, for us, it took maybe around 4 weeks for us to both get accepted from arriving in Spain.
So, and then in that time, we was in constant communication with the Move to Spain Guide, just over WhatsApp. They were keeping us updated on the process, just checking the status of it, letting us know that we'd been accepted, send all our acceptance letters over and stuff like that. So the whole process was really stress-free, to be honest.
So from start to finish, the total cost of getting the Spanish Digital Nomad Visa was around about €2,400 for both of us.
And again, we have spoke to other people. Again, there's another couple who we know. They've both jointly applied from the UK, and it cost them, I think it was £1,000 each, wasn't it? Or €1,000.
I think it was around about the same price as what we paid, and that was for 2 separate applications and applying from the UK, and doing it all themselves. So
hiring this company was no cheaper or anything compared to someone else doing it on their own. So yeah, the whole thing was just fantastic service from start to finish.
It was really worthwhile. I think it would have been a hell of a lot more stressful doing it ourselves and trying to figure out what we needed to do and making sure we got everything right. Would have been a lot more stressful. So yeah, we definitely think it was worthwhile having the company to help us.
Yeah, so the big thing is, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the A1 certificate that we got can't be renewed. So after 2 years, we can then go self-employed, and we just have to reapply. We've got our Spanish NIE number cards now, so we're Spanish residents almost. So all we need to do is just change our visa type, and we will go self-employed if we want to stay past our 2-year mark. And all then, again, the Move to Spain Guide will help us with that, and they also help you with all your taxes. So again, as I mentioned, when you go self-employed, the tax system is a little bit different. I'm not entirely sure how that works. We haven't quite looked into it yet, because we thought, let's just see how the 2 years go and decide if we actually want to stay or we don't. We want to go to somewhere else. At the minute, it's definitely looking like we'll stay. So we'll update you on that process once we get to it, but we'll most likely be renewing next year. So one of the other things on the renewals is, after our 2-year visa that we've got, we can then reapply as self-employed for another 3 years. And then after 5 years in total, we then become residents. So we won't have to apply for any more visas. After that, we will then become Spanish residents if we stay here for more than 5 years. There is a couple of things that you need, so you renew. So you need to spend so much time in Spain. You can't be living in another country or going backwards and forwards to the UK. You need to be in Spain. And I think I want to say over 300 days. You'll have to check that. I'm not entirely sure, but you need to spend, I think it's over 75% of your time in Spain. So you're allowed so many weeks away, obviously holidays and everything can go back, but you need to spend the majority of your time in Spain in order for you to renew.
So just some top tips if you are thinking of applying for the Spanish Digital Nomad Visa. Number one top tip would be to make sure that you start the application process early. So it all takes time to gather up all the documents, do the apostles, do the translations. So if you kind of have a date in mind of when you would like to be in Spain, we would recommend starting the process a good few months before, just to make sure that you have enough time to get everything together and you're not rushing around stressing out.
Yeah, because I got a few of the government documents can take a good few weeks. I think one of them even took over 4 weeks to come. So order them quick, and then you have to send them off to get apostilled. You can pay a lot extra money to get it done faster, but it's obviously a little bit cheaper if they take the time. Again, that's then a couple of weeks. Then you have to get everything translated. Once you've got all that back, then that's a couple of weeks. So it all just takes time to get everything done. Obviously, you can pay to get it done quicker, but it's going to cost a lot more and be a lot more stressful. So just give yourself enough time.
And then the only other top tip we have is, for us personally, we think it is better to use a company to help you with it. Again, it's going to be a lot less stressful. You're going to know that you're making sure you get everything right. So yeah, personally, we think it was much better for us to have the company to help us. So in terms of everything you need to know about how to apply for the Spanish Digital Nomad Visa, I think we've covered everything there. We will put a link in the description of the video to the Move to Spain guide website, so you can go and check them out and see if you want to ask them any questions. You can also, I think, arrange a video call with them to discuss the process before you actually go for it.
But yeah, we can only speak from our experience with them and our experience of moving to Spain. And it has been one of the best decisions that we've made. Obviously, going from, if you've seen other videos on this channel, we was traveling in our camper van for over 2 years. We just went over 25 countries. And in the end, we decided on Spain, and it's been the best decision we made. I mean, I'd say it's meant to have a lot of sun. We did have one of the wettest winters on record, I think, in Spain this year. But other than that, it's been absolutely beautiful. It's 30 degrees at the minute. We speak to family back home and it's raining in June and it's horrible. And it's 30 degrees here. We've got our own swimming pool. It's just amazing. I don't know what else.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I really don't know what else to say. It's just amazing. It really has been one of the best decisions we've made.
So if you do have any more questions about the process at all, feel free to leave any questions in the comments. We'll be happy to help, happy to answer any questions at all.
So we will try and make some more videos and keep them more up to date. One of the other questions we do get asked a lot is about our car. So we imported our car from England into Spain. And I think we mentioned that in our last video. So we will try and make that the next one we do, as that's all now finished. And we've now got our Spanish number plates on and everything. So we'll try and make sure that's our next video. But if you do have any questions, put them in the comments. We'll answer as many of them. And if you want any videos making a bit more explanation than just a comment back, just let us know and we'll try and record a video on it as well.